Welcome to Setting the Table, the Chefs of Best Fest. I'm Tay Westbury, and today I'm sitting down with Chef Clayton Chapman, a chef whose story starts in backyard gardens, family meals, and early restaurant jobs that taught him the value of hospitality, discipline, and care. From working in Omaha kitchens as a teenager to open his own restaurant at just 24, Clayton has built a career around intention, connection, and creating food that means something. Chef, thank you for welcoming me into your house. This is a pleasure.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
It's a
of course.
pleasure.
Yeah. So, first off, tell me your name and where you grew up at.
Sure. My name's Clayton Chapman, and I grew up here in Omaha.
Okay. In Omaha, what side of Omaha? Are we talking country Omaha? Are we talking urban Omaha? Tell me, like, we're gonna dive more into like your childhood and things you grew up around.
Sure. So my childhood was a little bit of both. So I grew up in District 66 in like our early part of childhood.
So that's West Side, right?
I was West Side.
Okay. Okay. I
Yep.
got you.
I know when people hear West Side, they're either like, all right, that's cool, or they're like, oh, West Side.
Okay, hold on. What's the old West Side from? Because I've always thought West Side's pretty cool.
Oh, I agree with you, so we'll just go with that.
Okay.
But yeah, halfway through growing up, my parents moved us out between Omaha and Fort Calhoun. They bought an acreage out there,
Oh, nice.
and absolutely loved it. So I should have, once we moved, went to North, but we still opted into West Side.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So growing up, you guys have some land now in Fort Calhoun. Did you have a farm or like, well, tell me about that.
Yes, we're on a few acres. No farm animals. Would have loved it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that rural. But we did have a huge garden.
Yeah.
You know, like everything that you would imagine, from beans and carrots to corn, tomatoes, cucumbers, berries. All the things.
So you had just access to great ingredients, organic ingredients at your fingertips at a very young age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what age would you say you started cooking?
Oh man. I think a lot of people say that cooking really began like early in their childhood.
Mhm.
And at least for me, it wasn't that. It's not that it's a bad story by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't that like early childhood romance story,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I remember my mother and my grandmother cooking and things of that nature, and I'd probably help them a little here and there, or I would be the designated dishwasher.
There you go. That's where everybody starts at.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But when I really, I loved food, and food was a big part of growing up, Sunday dinners and things like that. But at least when I really got into cooking professionally, it was through the restaurant business.
Nice. So what was your first restaurant?
Well, my first restaurant was Subway.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
My first one was Papa Murphy's. Is it? Let me ask you this: isn't it for me? That time that I spent at Papa Murphy's really molded me into one. Like, I used techniques that I found back in 2006 today. I
Sure.
worked at an Indian restaurant, and they're like, "Do you know how to roll naan?" And I was like, "No, I have no idea." And they showed me. I was like, "Oh, I was just rolling pizza dough, man. I got that."
Yeah.
So-
why didn't you just say it was like that?
Exactly. So your time at Subway, is there anything that from your first experience in the kitchen that's carried over into your life now as a chef?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it teaches you efficiency,
Mhm.
teaches you customer service, it teaches you hospitality, right? That is, or at least it was at the time. I don't know what their protocol is anymore, where you're guest facing, and you're asking people what it is that they want, and so that teaches a lot of skills.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely like intentionality too, because
Right.
I don't know about you, but like you go to a Subway and there's somebody that's there that wants to be there, and there's somebody that doesn't want to be there. Your sandwich comes out two different ways.
Sure.
So I get that, man. Definitely being in the restaurant industry and having people around you that have that same drive to like put it on a plate,
Yeah.
put your personality onto a plate. Let me go back though, because we were about to go off on a whole tangent
Yeah.
there. So your garden growing up, man, what did it look like? What were the things that were there that really, because I know myself, after doing some research and trying to understand who you were as a chef, you really respect the organic ingredients and using ingredients that are familiar to the seasons, and
Sure.
just paying that respect and homage to local farmers and everything. Your garden growing up, I would assume that was a major impact in like your style of chef today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So I will say, like in my folks' first home, we had a much smaller garden, and what I remember most about is there was a rhubarb plant that was like the size of me.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't really remember a whole lot. With that said, once we moved out to the acreage, My parents raised three boys. They put us to work. So, we put up a nice white picket fence like you would imagine out in the country with a big trellis and, honeysuckle vines on it and all the things. It was a pretty special deal.
Yeah, yeah. So, I've got a little bit of experience in the garden, and I will say to this day, every year I plant too much, and the garden becomes too much. How do you do you garden still today?
Yeah, we still do.
Okay, so how do you go about orchestrating your garden? So that it's something you can enjoy and it doesn't become so much of a daily task, and it takes away from the fruit that you get at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's human nature. We all plant more than we think, right? It's like going to the grocery store hungry,
Yeah.
and your cart gets full of food. I think one of the beauties of that is it gives you this abundance to give away, right? Like that's part of the fun, I think, for a lot of people, and I know that it is for us, is to be able to give away some of the things that you grow,
Yeah.
or to can and preserve it for a later time.
Yeah, because before you know it, you have a cucumber counter, you have a tomato counter,
Yes.
and then it just goes crazy. So outside of the garden, what really steers your path down the career of being a chef?
Yeah. So flash forward from my time at Subway, we moved out a little outside of Omaha, and I started working at a place called Mother's Good Food. It was ran by two retired Marines,
Okay.
Mike and Red Dog. I still remember those guys like it was yesterday. And I actually started working for them as a dishwasher, and I didn't screw that up. So they allowed me to do some prep, and then they put me on the line. And I loved that balance of creativity and chaos, during dinner service in that moment. And I just kind of fell in love with food and the business, and I was fortunate that I was good at it.
Yeah. And so you said Mike and Red Dog.
Yeah.
So how long did you work for the two of them?
Maybe a year or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say that experience is really what gave you structure into wanting to go into bigger kitchens and learn more? Or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they were there were a lot of great teaching moments when I was there for them, and I remember I probably worked for them for about 6 months before I loaded the dishwasher to their standards.
Really?
Yeah.
That is insane. Just the dishwasher. You didn't even get to touch a knife or do any kind of prep.
Absolutely not.
Wow. What kind of restaurant was it?
Creole.
Oh, all right. All right. Nice.
So New Orleans style, gumbos at touffes, things like that.
Yeah. So the time that you spent there with these two, is there any one experience that really stood out to you that you took away that was like, this is something that I'll always remember? And it could have been a good experience or a bad experience. It could have been loading the dishwasher for 6 months until you figured it out.
Yeah, sure. I'd say that's probably my best example of it. I think that there's this real romanticism that comes with restaurants and being a chef and being a restaurant owner and all the things. But I think a lot of times at the end of the day, maybe some forget how hard it is to actually make it, to make a living at it and to be successful in that it's like, if you watch the pennies, the dollars take care of themselves in a lot of ways. I think that's probably the best lesson that they taught me that carried through for the next 20 plus years.
Watch the pennies and the dollars will carry you away.
Yeah.
I like that. So when you were in this period between going from Subway to your first official restaurant, and then leaving the restaurant with this knowledge of how a kitchen should run and what it takes to be successful, in that moment, were you like, okay, I know this is something I want to do, or did you have to spend more time in other kitchens to really find that passion?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did spend time in other kitchens in Omaha, and this was all still in high school, mind you. I was probably...
You were in high school doing this?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yep. I was maybe 16 when I started working for those guys. I worked at M's Pub, like an Omaha institution, still while in high school. And then I ultimately decided to attend culinary school in Chicago.
Okay. So why Chicago instead of staying in Omaha?
Yeah. I thought that the dining scene in Chicago was incredible. It's like a food mecca. But I actually, I'll give you the abbreviated version of the story.
Yeah.
I met Gail Gand. She's a Food Network, star, you could say, focused on pastry. So she was partners and married to, at the time, Rick Tremonto, who was the savory chef of a restaurant called True in Chicago. And long story short, I ended up competing in a culinary competition in Chicago, bombed it, but had dinner at True thereafter. And that meal changed my life. And I said, okay, I'm going to move here. I'm going to work here, and I'm going to go to school.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
I feel like that's a story that a lot of chefs have. Like you have a dish that you just sit down, and not even sit down. And I'll say for me, you walk away from the table and get in the car, and it's still like bringing something out, and you're like, I was never expecting that. And, you know, like when you have that moment to yourself. What was the dish? Do you remember?
It was a tasting menu.
Oh, okay.
Actually. Yeah, it was, and it was like a consolation prize because I totally botched this competition.
I thought you won.
No.
Okay, all right.
No. Bombed. Like embarrassed myself bad.
Was it just you weren't prepared to cook at that level, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like I had been working in restaurants and things, but just to give you perspective, so they picked 10 of us nationwide. It was a nationwide cast, and I think there were, I don't know, somewhere between 500 and 1,000 entries, and they took 10 of us.
Yeah.
And the other 9 showed up with like a culinary instructor or a culinary coach.
Yeah.
I showed up with my mom.
Like she's on certification, I swear.
Yeah, it was just a good learning lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So years later, you go to own your own restaurant.
Yep.
Great Plume, right?
Yep.
And what did that mean to you? Was it more of because I know, how old were you? Let me ask that when you did.
I was 24.
24, insane, owning a restaurant at 24. And was it more of, and I'm gonna ask you this, and you can answer however you'd like. Was it a flex for you then, or was it a passion for you then? Because I feel like at 24, when I think about myself at 24, I would definitely be flexing if I'm opening a restaurant, you know?
Sure.
Like it would have passion in it, but I think the flex of doing it would also, I'd have to struggle with it for me personally.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent question. To answer it truthfully, there was no flex.
Okay.
At the time, at that time in my life, it was more of a calling than anything. I was really fortunate to work for others and learn a lot of things. I learned a lot of good things, and then I definitely learned some things not to do. But I wanted to, open something that I was incredibly proud of that didn't exist here. So yeah, there was no flex. It was more of a passion and a calling at the time.
Yeah. And so what made you make the transition?
Out of it?
2020, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the business, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
But you have to be very passionate about it. You have to love what you do to get you out of bed every morning. And it's also a grind.
Yep. The sacrifice is real.
It is real.
Yeah.
And if you don't love it, then you shouldn't do it,
Yeah.
right? And so we had a really fantastic 10 years. We were really blessed, a lot of national recognition.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
We had an awesome team that was with us for a number of years. But COVID obviously happened, right? That happened.
Yes, that happened.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing. What, 6 years ago now?
Yeah.
Wow.
So COVID happened in March of 2020. I was blessed with my third child in January of 2020. And after Lincoln was born, it was the first time that, that I was like paused, took a break, and was around. Nights, weekends, bedtime.
Oh, you got blessed, man.
Yeah. I caught the bug, and ultimately when kind of the ban lifted, but there were still all of the things that were like, tables have to be so many feet apart. You have to put up guards, so on and so forth.
Completely revamp your restaurant to make it not even feel like a restaurant, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It was really a multi-part decision for us. It was it was B, my life focus changed. I wanted something different. Wanted the next 10 years to look different than the last 10.
Yeah.
And the third part is there was a good handful of our team that we had with us over a number of years that COVID gave them the chance to reflect on life. And they're like, you know what? The business has been good to me, but I'm going to go back to school.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this thing that I always wanted to do. And we just said, let's let it go and go out on a high note.
Yeah. And that's such an incredible story, though. And I know there's a lot more to it.
Sure.
So coming back after having this hiatus and being able to fall back into the role of a family man, and then what was the final deciding factor? I know there's probably a lot of conversations with your wife about what you're gonna do, now that things are starting to open back up, and then you transitioning to this other part of your career, like, was it more of a I want to serve people and have a closer connection with the guest, or what? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question, and I think Heather and I said we love being of service,
Mhm.
but we don't necessarily want to be in service anymore. Meaning, you get that in
Yeah.
service, like dinner service.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there was an opportunity. This was in 2020 when we started Noble Hospitality. We were doing some restaurant consulting. We were still doing some private events and
Mhm.
things, but it was very personal. Whether it was giving somebody like a turnkey solution
Mhm.
to build a restaurant that they've always wanted to do, or maybe helping those reface, like that's a very intimate, personal thing. It's also a very personal thing to go into somebody's home and cook a meal for them.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you prefer? And I think I know the answer, but would you prefer more of, the open space kitchen where you have, a team working with you to create beautiful meals for an extended amount of guests every night, or the opportunity to, come to somebody's home and sit with their family and be a part of, a story?
Yeah, no, I loved that chapter of life when I was doing that, but I would probably definitely say the latter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Same. I can 100% agree with you. Like, I'm a big connection guy, and I think food gives you a way to connect with people on a platform where you might not normally have, like
Sure.
I've sat with people that I'm like, I never thought I would ever meet you. And because of food, I've been able to connect with you.
Absolutely.
Do you have that same connection, with food and with people?
Yeah, you bet. I think we've met a lot of friends that way, like a lot of lifelong friends, that have happened over food. Food is it's this connection piece, right? That it's like, one, we all need to eat, but if you can do it in a way that brings people together and creates memories and all the things, man, that's it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you have like a personal touch that you do at the end of your meals or anything like that?
Um,
If it's not a secret, if it's a secret, don't tell me. It's all good.
I'll just say it's a secret and we'll leave it at that.
Okay, no doubt. So, what's one part of like the hospitality of doing that all that people don't understand?
Uh, so I will say that I think that it's gotten better over the years, right? I think that, I mean, truth be told, I think the Food Network's helped a lot with it.
Mhm.
Just that industry awareness.
Yeah.
But I will say, if I had to pick one thing that I think, consumers or guests didn't always get, it was that it's really happy just to make blank this, whatever this is, happen
Yeah.
right then and there.
Yeah.
But there were probably hours and hours and hours of work that went into that plate before it was given to you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's always really well understood.
Mhm. So, when somebody is sharing a meal with you, dining with you, what message, what story are you trying to convey to them?
I think it depends on the circumstance
Okay.
and the individual and the meal.
Mhm.
A lot of times, when we do events or when we have done events in the past, we customize a meal based on personal preference.
Yeah.
So it's something that's a little familiar to them, something that's a little different, but something that, excites them.
Okay. So, if I was dining with you, I would say I want a meal that tells me a story about you. What would you make?
Like, which part of me?
The
Childhood.
good, and the ugly. No.
Yeah. Okay, so I would probably give you some chicken nuggets. That's
Okay.
definitely part of my life right now. I'd
Yeah.
probably grill you some meat over an open flame.
I saw you had some smoke rolling out back there.
I got some peppers on the grill for dinner.
Okay, nice.
Definitely something in cast iron.
Mhm.
Definitely some type of one pot meal.
Mhm.
We eat a lot of bison meat in our house. Like,
Okay.
it's right. I just think it's delicious, full of protein. It's
Yep.
lean.
Yeah.
But chicken nuggets and mac and cheese and those things are still. I've got kids, so it's a big part of life too.
And I love that because there are chefs out there that can't, that if for whatever reason, can't enjoy a chicken nugget or McDonald's French fry. I'm like, bro, it tastes good. And, you can create, if you want to make it fancy, dip it in the aioli, bro. Like, I know for me, I love cooking a meal for my family, and my wife is my biggest critic. Like, she almost is bothered by it because I'll give her a plate and I won't leave the room, and I'll kind of act like I'm not paying attention, but I'm like, I'm really paying attention because I want to hear what you're gonna say.
Oh yeah, you're
You know?
paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was like, babe, it's good. You can go back and do whatever you're doing. I'm like, well, could you give me more than that? Like, So for your family, do you take part in like family dinners where you're like, I've been working on this something and I'm really excited to present to you guys, or you're like, it's chicken nugget and French fry night, y'all. Like, fend for yourself is what we call it in our house.
Yeah, I love that. We have some fend for yourself nights where we'll do chicken nuggets and French fries, or we'll do homemade pizzas and things.
Okay.
But I would say, one, it's great to be with a woman that knows what she wants, right? Yep.
Absolutely.
You can attest to that.
I can.
Yeah.
I can. I love those nights.
But that I think we say it in our house a lot about intuitive eating,
Mhm.
because we all like, so there's Heather and I, and there's 4 kids in the house a lot of times, and we all eat a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So I might be making 6 different things for 6 different people, but they're all a variation of each other, and I'm happy to do it because everyone's getting what they need.
Yeah, and enjoying it too.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So do you feel like any of your kids will follow your steps and into the restaurant industry?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I think my older 2 saw me gone a lot.
Okay.
And there's that real life factor and component to it that they saw me sacrifice nights and Saturday morning soccer games and things like that. And my younger 2, I just don't see it in the cards at this point.
Yeah. So with that knowledge that you have right now, how does that make you feel? Like, 'cause I mean, you've contributed your whole life to, I'm not gonna say your whole life, but a good chunk of your life
Sure.
to, being in the kitchen and, being a part of this passion project, if you so.
Yeah.
And you saying, I don't think my kids will do it. Is that a part of the sacrifice? Is that how does that make you feel?
I think it makes me feel good. Like, don't hear me wrong, if my kid said, Dad, I want to be a chef, or, I want to be in the restaurant business, and this is why, because I'm so passionate about it and I love it and it gets me out of bed in the morning, I'd say great, and I would support it 100%. But I think that there's just a little bit of stigmatism to it because of what they saw me go through.
Yeah.
In general, I would support my kids to do whatever made them happy,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think 2020 really brought that out of a lot of people. Like, this life, if you're gonna live it, man, you gotta do it, and do it in a form where you're happy, because it'll take the life from you, and you'll wake up one day and be 80 years old and be like, damn, I still got this whole bucket list of things that I was gonna do and I never did.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I always say the days are long, but the months and years are short.
Yeah.
So might as well be happy.
Yeah. Do you have a bucket list in the culinary industry?
No,
Nothing at all.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. Maybe at one point in my life I did,
Mhm.
but I was really blessed to check a lot of those boxes.
Yeah. Now we got to start writing the list, man. I feel
I
what,
guess.
what was that movie where they was like, you don't have a bucket list? we got to write this down now.
All right, we'll work on that.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Best Fest 2020. You were the first chef to sell out. Congratulations.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
That I don't even think tickets were on sale yet. And I was like, I got the text from Bill Stitzman, and he was like, yeah, Clayton Chapman sold out. And I was like, the website went live yesterday. I'm excited to see, because I've never seen myself, to see what you put on the plate and why people are so just behind you, like in a force form. What would you say the driving factor behind that is? Why people are just like, I see his name on the list, I'm going to be there.
Wow.
Call it the Morgan Wallen of the culinary industry.
Well, thank you for saying it. That's very generous. Man, I don't know.
Really?
I would think so. I would say if I could pick any one thing, is the intention and care that goes into it.
Yeah.
I say how you do anything is how you do everything. And so when we put a meal together, we put it in front of somebody, there's a lot of care and intention and thought that goes behind it. Far beyond, like we always used to say when I had the Great Plume, we care more about what the guest is eating than the guest cares.
Yeah.
And I think that still carries through.
Yeah. So, with your non-bucket list having self, is there anything that you would go back in your career and do differently if given the opportunity to?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm sure 1,000 things.
1,000? Okay. Well, is there one major thing? And I can tell you what mine would be after you tell me yours.
I would say there are so many chefs and people in the restaurant industry that think that self-sacrifice is what it takes to make it, right? give up everything that you have to do for the sake of the end goal or the plate or the business to be successful. But I would argue that you will be most successful if you put the oxygen mask on first. And so many of us forget. And it's like if your bucket's full and you feel good, your team's gonna feel good, you're gonna perform good, and your guests are gonna feel good. And I'm not saying like you don't have to make some hard choices sometimes and do things you don't want to do. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself because no one else will.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's so real, man. Because my first experience in the restaurant industry, it was like, what can we take from you? What because it went from I was just doing social media and just kind of helping out with some videos to, oh, we need you to do prep, to we need a grill cook, to we need a saute cook. And I'm like, I run all 3 stations, do all the prep, but I was supposed to be just a social media manager. But yeah, no, it's wild how the kitchen can do that to you, especially if you love it, you know? And I feel like, and I'm just gonna roll into what I was gonna say. I'm passionate about it, and you know, when you're passionate about something, somebody on the other end can see that passion, and be like, okay, well, how can I take that passion and do what I want with it?
Sure.
And I think for me, that was my biggest thing that I would go back and do is instead of putting so much effort into being a DJ, I would have taken that effort and turned it into, you know, culinary. And I had a gentleman that put me on with radio at 20 years old, and that was
Good for you, man.
Yeah, that was my pivotal point, though. I was like, that was when I was like, I'm gonna go learn how to be a chef, or I'm gonna be a DJ.
Yep.
And you know, he sold me with all the cool things that you're gonna get from radio, but didn't tell me radio would take your soul. You know.
Sure.
And so, yeah, no, I would definitely go back and be like, oh, no, bro, it's cooking for me, man.
Is it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I love the opportunity to do this. Can I sit down on radio and interview, you know, B.O.B.? Yes, but I'm going to get done with that and probably never see B.O.B. a day in my life. I'm going to see you again on June 20th and then get to watch and just continue to grow my relationship with you and all the rest of the chefs and guests there. And food gives me that opportunity to, you know, connect with people.
Yeah,
and
that's
really
awesome.
bring a relationship. So at the end of the day, when all your guests are done dining at Best Fest, what do you want them to take away from your meal?
So Best Fest is a cool deal, man. I think, you know, the thought and intention that went behind curating this and putting it together is pretty special. The food is just going to be one element of this, you know, the music, the art, the table settings, the presentation, the service style. There's a lot that's going to go into it. I think that whether it's myself or, you know, the other chefs that are participating, like I think it's a really cool thing for Omaha. I think it's going to be a treat for guests to be part of. I think they can take away one thing. It's going to be just like how unique Omaha is. And there are so many opportunities here that only exist in like much bigger metropolitan areas, and we're doing it. It's cool.
Big city, little town.
Big city. What'd you say? Big city, little town.
Big city, little town.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, Chef Clayton Chapman, thank you for joining me. This has been fantastic. Best Fest, June 20th. What are you waiting for? Seats are filling up fast. We'll see you there.